think, oh, fuckity fuck.
Hello, and welcome to Knitting My Shit Together podcast, where neurodivergence and mental health and other really cool things meet knitting. I'm Annika, and I am in Moses Lake, Washington. You can find me online, obviously, since you're watching this on YouTube right now. I am on Instagram at T-Fueled Living and on Ravelry at Threadcatcher.
And you use?
Oh, and I use they, them pronouns.
Yeah. And I'm Farrah, and I am in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can find me on Instagram at TomboyFemBags. You can find me on Ravelry at Farrah Knits. And I use she, her pronouns. And we both are at Knitting My Shit Together on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know when we add that in now.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
As long as one of us remembers, I feel like that's good enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, this week, I guess I'm leading the podcast, which is honestly kind of terrifying. At the moment, it's literally just me talking to Farrah and to my computer. But, intellectually, I guess, the pressure's there because I know that you lovely people are going to be watching this later. So I'm an extrovert with really bad stage fright and social anxiety that manifests that way. And this is really picking it up, which is super fun. Anyway, why don't we just jump into the mental health moment for this week?
Okay.
That work?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So Farrah and I both have ADHD, and that can come with something called executive dysfunction. And in case you don't know what executive function is, when your brain's working the way it's supposed to, executive function is the skills that your frontal lobe of your brain processes, and those skills are the ones that are pretty much the command center of your brain. So they're the ones that manage your time management skills and your emotional regulation skills.
It's like the adulting part of your brain.
It's the adulting part of your brain. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And the one that I struggle with the most personally when it comes to executive function issues is getting things done. And not necessarily it doesn't necessarily have to be hard things. And that's not necessarily the fun part of having an executive function disorder, but the part that a lot of people don't understand, a lot of neurotypical people don't understand, and a lot of people who don't struggle in this way, they don't understand that with executive function disorders, sometimes your brain literally just can't do that thing. And it could be things that you normally enjoy and want to do, or it could be even something that should seem simple, like taking a shower, brushing your teeth, putting away that one little laundry. your brain at that point just doesn't know how to process it. And so today for the mental health moment, I thought that it would be helpful or interesting to talk about ways to combat executive function issues. There are two main ways that I have learned or that have the most amount of research behind them to long-term help with executive dysfunction issues, and those two things are dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, which I'm always do it, it's great. The other one is cognitive behavioral therapy. Both types of therapy teach your brain how to use the skills that you need and teach you how to access that part of your brain in a way that makes sense to your brain. I know that sounds a little convoluted, and I'm sorry.
Adderall.
And Adderall, yes. There are medications that some people find helpful too, like Adderall and Ritalin, depending on how people's bodies process things. Medication doesn't work for every person, and that's cool too. Different types of therapy work for different types of people too, and that's also cool. But I also thought that it would be good to talk about some actual tangible things that you can implement in your own life to help with executive function things. These are things that help me personally, and different people are obviously going to find different things helpful. I also want to put the disclaimer out that Farrah and I are not therapists. We are not psychologists. We are not mental health providers in any sort of capacity. So these are just take what works for you and move on. This is not any specific, you have to do these skills or that you're not going to fix the problem. So things that work for me specifically are taking the internal things that I need to get done and making them external. So I write lists for everything. I always have at least 1 or 2 journals in my bag with me at all times, because if I write it down, then it becomes a to-do list and I get it done. So writing to-do lists might be helpful for you. Other things that you could do is putting important reminders or things that you need to get done in places that you're going to see it on sticky notes, bright colored sticky notes. So you really just have a hard time missing it. So I personally have sticky notes that say, brush your teeth, put on deodorant on my mirror in my bathroom. And that's because my brain just doesn't process that I need to get those things done in the morning without those reminders. Other things that might help are setting timers. And that sounds kind of basic, but if you're a super competitive person like I am, setting timers can be really great things.
I think what they say is that being under time pressure, because executive function disorders are related to low dopamine, and time pressure increases dopamine.
Yeah.
Which is
time pressures work amazing for me. And they work even if I'm not telling anyone else that I'm putting myself under this time pressure. So also the timer for 20 minutes, and I'll be all right, let's see how much of the living room and the laundry I can get done. Or if setting an actual timer stresses you out more than you would think it would be healthy for you, then other things that you could do, of the same vein, would be to put on a specific playlist. I normally pick something that's pretty upbeat and loud, so it gets me going, and I'll see how much I can get done in a certain amount of songs. That really helps me personally, especially with taking showers. Like, I have a hard time getting out of bed and into the shower. And then once I'm in the shower, like, I have a hard time getting out of the shower. And so I started putting on really loud music in the bathroom when I go to take showers. And I'll be like, okay, you have 3 songs to get washed and get out of the shower. And sometimes I literally will just stand there for like 2 songs and then rush through the 3rd song trying to get done with like the actual showering. But sometimes I'm done within like a song and a half and like having a dance party in my bathroom because I beat my own goal. So it doesn't have to be like really strict. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to have accountability with other people. Like, this is something that you can do for yourself and keep yourself accountable with.
You know what else I learned a tip about for reminders? This came to mind. And I do this. So for me, like, yeah, I have a bullet journal and stuff, and that helps. But my Siri helps me a ton. And I have a friend who has ADHD who taught me this trick. You can set geotagged reminders on Siri.
That's cool.
So that's why I have my, if you have an Apple Watch and iPhone, so like what I can do is say, when I'm at this place, remind me of this. So like if I'm thinking, cool. When I'm at Target, I have to remember later when I'm at Target to get this, you can say to Siri, hey, when I'm here, remind me to get this too. And it will geotag a reminder so that when you're within so many feet of Target, it will remind you of something.
That's so cool.
And the other thing I do is whenever, especially with kids, they'll be like, hey, Mom, will you da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, if I don't set a reminder, it is not happening, period.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And so I'll right then and there have Siri set me a reminder.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it for what I had on my list. Oh, the other thing that I have for executive dysfunction tips is don't be afraid to break things down into smaller steps. And like, I mean that with getting tasks done, with like, okay, so I need to clean the living room and my brain's just not letting me process that. So at that point, you can just like break it down into smaller tasks. I'm going to put the books away. I'm going to wipe down the coffee table. I'm going to do X thing. That could also work with doing, like even doing other style tasks, like even feeding yourself. I read this post of this person who like had a hard time making themselves lunch because they couldn't just like get their brain to wrap around like actually being able to make a sandwich. And their therapist was like, just eat the sandwich components by itself. Like break down the sandwich and eat it. Like that works. You're still eating that way and you're still getting the sandwich components that you wanted. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Keep it simple. Like instead of saying I have to make an elaborate like club sandwich, make a PB&J. Yeah. My kids' new favorite lunch they call nibbles, thanks to that deconstructed sandwich post that I read. So I'm like, oh, like I can do that. Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, they like to dig in the fridge and find whatever random components speak to them and make lunch that way. So that's pretty cool. And I think, I know I shared some of these videos with you, but if people want, there's this person I follow on YouTube, and she has a channel called How to ADHD. She's also not a therapist, but it's lots of practical, like, tips and tricks that are so helpful, and I really like them. I guess I'll put a link into that, to the show notes. Or to
Totally.
the description box, and you can put it in the show notes.
Perfect. Also, too, if you guys have tips and tricks that work for you, you should stick them in the comments.
Yeah, totally.
Below. Share the knowledge, because what works for you might work for someone else, and that's pretty cool, too.
Well, there's something where I'm like, ugh. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, do it for 10 minutes. You can do anything for 10 minutes. So I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to do this thing for 10 minutes. And then by the time you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is no big thing. And I just keep doing it. That's another trick I do. Reminder watches on my watch. What else? I'm trying to think of which ones I do. I do break things down into smaller things. Lists help me.
Oh, I reward myself, too.
Yeah.
Like, there are some tasks, like some making phone calls, I have a really hard time with. And I'd be like...
Me too. I hate making phone calls. It's so many steps.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, if we make this phone call, we get to reward ourselves. And normally it's me actually going out to get coffee instead of making coffee.
Do you want to hear a funny one? I accidentally subscribed to Ancestry.com.
Okay.
I did it on a weird account that I couldn't remember which one, because I've subscribed so I was like, oh, I'm looking for some information, so I'll just do the free trial period and then cancel, and then I didn't cancel, and then I've done that with a couple different emails on Ancestry.com, and so I couldn't find which one to cancel, so we got charged 1 month for a regular subscription, and my partner was like, hey, did you sign up? And I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot to blah, 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 blah. So he was like, if you could get on that this week, and that'd be cool. So it took me like 3 months where we were getting charged for Ancestry.com. And how I knew I really had to get on it was he was visiting family, and I got a random text message. I was home alone that said something like, I'm going to firebomb Ancestry. And I was like, he's not really. No terrorist threats. But it was just that whole thing that we had just gotten charged. I was like, oops. So I then was like, okay, I like legitimately need to call them. And I did. And they're the worst. And now I have to do the same thing for another thing I subscribed to that we're going to cancel. And it's been 2 weeks so far where he's been like, have you done this? Have you done this? And I need to just call and cancel. That's on my list. And rewarding, yes.
Yeah.
And I think the rewards have to be instant gratification.
Yes, they do.
It cannot be delayed. Delayed gratification is an executive function, folks. So if you're saying... because it's impulse control. So if you're saying like, oh, I'll reward myself with this long off distance thing, and it's not failing, it's not working, it's because it's too down the road. It has to be instant.
Yep.
Yeah. So share what works for you, people.
Please, we'd love to know in the comment section below. Please. Yes.
What's next?
What is next? That is the wrong page. I wrote things down so I'd remember, and I color code things that way. I have an idea-ish where I am.
And we're never going to be trying to be the cool podcast people who don't have lists that we follow. There are people who try and memorize it and not look at lists.
I'd be so lost without a list. Like, I have learned from experience that, like, when my brain is like, oh, you don't need a list, you'll remember this for sure because you're so excited about it. My brain, by the time that I get there, will be like, we were supposed to remember something, and we have absolutely no idea. Yeah. Absolutely no idea what it was. So, yes. Okay. Do we want to do whips next?
Okay.
You want to go first?
Sure. Here's one of my whips. I'm still working on my Vespa by Mustache Yarns rainbow socks. I think I'm on my second repeat, and it's 2 repeats. I think this is a 12 stripe repeat. So I started with the gray blue on this one, and so I just have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stripes left, which isn't a lot, actually. It sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So that will probably be done by next week, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? This is how willy-nilly I've gotten with whips now. Before I was like, when I first started, I was on it, and now I have a million things on the needles, and I'm like, who knows when it'll be done? Okay. I've been working diligently on my Cherie Chevron shawl by Amba O'Brien. Oh, and my socks are plain vanilla socks. I'm doing an afterthought heel. I'm knitting them on US 1 or 2.25 millimeter Luca needles, and I have a kitty cat progress keeper from Firefly Notes. And the yarn is Mustache Vespa. Okay. This, I really want to finish today because I just want to finish it. But I am loving it, and I'm not in the middle of a row, miraculously. This is my Cherie Chevron shawl by Amba O'Brien. Look at this. I'm on the decreases. I have like 4 stripes left.
You're
and
so close.
Look at how cool it's going to look.
Oh, that's going to look so
I cannot
cool.
wait. And like school's going to be starting soon, and I'm just imagining walking across campus. I have this whole like vision of me in my head with this on. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And so I am knitting this on 3.75 or US 5, 3.75 millimeters, US 5 needles. I'm using my Luca interchangeables. Here's the yarns. This is Walk Collection, and it's like, I don't know I know it's a single ply fingering weight, and I believe just 100% merino. I don't think it's superwash. And the color is called Claret. This is by Muse 2320 Fiber Co. And it is their Crane Wife base, I believe. I always forget to look up which base this is, but I'm pretty sure it's Crane Wife.
It's the Crane Wife.
Yeah. And this is called Kitchen Sink because it has 13 colors in it. And I love it. And it's so pretty. So, oh, and I have from that I got at Stitches that I think I forgot to show last time. This is my Cardinal Progress Keeper by Lock and Lou. And it's a little handmade red cardinal. Because in Minnesota, cardinals stay here in the winter. And so everything, like all the leaves are gone. It's like white from all the snow. Everything's white and gray in the winter and light pale brown. I love it. And every now and then you'll just look up and in a tree will be a bright red male cardinal. And it's the best. So I got one of those. And so yeah, have just a few stripes left. I'm loving it. I'm especially loving it now that I was loving knitting it the whole time. It's just now I finally have the pattern in my head now that I'm almost done, and I haven't had to keep ripping back. For some reason, I have to rip back less when I'm decreasing than when I'm increasing.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
That is.
On this pattern anyway. So I really love it. I'm going to block it hopefully tonight, and then it will be done. And then I'll move on to other half-finished things that I have and finish those. Let me see if I have anything else. I have to look through my piles. Oh no, I didn't work on that this week. That's all I've worked on except for spinning. So yeah, I've done a fair amount of that this week. Like, I think I commented on Hyperfocus on a couple posts on our Instagram page this week, and this is it. So I'm counting it as whips when I'm still have the fiber left and haven't used all of one of the fibers. So that's how I'm going to do this, I think. So let me show you the whips I have. And I took some notes on it, and yeah, so there's lots of spinning content this week. So first we'll start with singles. And a lot of this fiber, because I'm a new spinner, was given to me by people trying to enable my spinning. And so I don't know what all it is, so you're not going to have those details. But I do know that this was hand-dyed by my friend Sultan, who is Spun Nomadidico on Instagram. And here's what's interesting. The bat is like grays, and it's really came out kind of tonal-ish, neutrally, which I like it. And I love this color. It's totally a me color. So this is a single that's done. And then with that single, I've done a few plies of something. So this is a ply I did with one peachy single. And this came out, I weighed it and everything and took notes. This came out to be a DK weight. And it's 4 grams, 10.5 yards. I figure I'm just kind of exploring and seeing what things are going to do plied. And I'm just giving myself permission to do that right now and be okay with it as I'm learning and going. This is between a DK and a sport weight. And it is the reddish plied with a natural, just bare fleece that's undyed. And it's 38 yards, 13 grams. And I love it. And I think after the experiments, this is how I'm going to ply the rest of this with the white, because I like that the best. And so I have one more ball of plied, and do I have any in this bag? Yeah, and another one too. A smaller one, because this is the one I partially plied from. So I'm going to have to ply these. Okay, then I have this single. And this is like blue purpley that somebody gave me that I love. And I have, in terms of singles for this, I have what's on the spindle right now. And this. And I think what I'm trying to do is just pick one and go and spin all of it. Like, I'm going to try and spin the rest of this so that I can just ply it all and I have all of one kind so that I can do something with it. But so far for this is what I've done. This was one of the first ones, as you can see. And this is 5 1/4 yards. It's 8 grams, and it's a super bulky, obviously. So I'll make a super bulky hat or something and put this as a stripe. Then this is an Aran weight, and it's 17.5 yards, and it's 10 grams. And these are both plied with natural. And I'm loving all of them. This is, where's this one? I don't think I have this one yet. Maybe I just wound this one this morning and I have to do it. But maybe, I don't know what this one is. Or this is, yeah, so this one I don't know, but it's really pretty. I'm guessing it's around a worsted maybe DK. We'll see. Then, this is a whip. And it was a bat that had peaches and pinks, and this I plied on itself. And I didn't Navajo or chain ply, I just spun 2 separate balls and plied them together. And I really love it. And this is DK weight. It's 10 1/2 yards. It's 4 grams. I think it's got to be more than that. Look at this. No, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm like, how is this? Okay, how is this 38 yards and 13 grams in a DK to sport, and this 10 and a half yards and 4 grams in a DK weight or sport?
I have no idea.
That I'll have to look at. I have a nitty natty coming. Yeah. So that's it for my whips. Lots of spinning and some knitting. How about you?
All right, so I have quite a few whips this week. My first whip is a vanilla sock, and the toe is made out of Euphoria Knits in Rorschach. The colorway is Rorschach, and this top colorway, let's see if I can get it to focus.
I love it.
It is Onyx Fiber Arts May 2019 colorway.
It's like a speckled
Bloom
rainbow. I love it.
It really is, and it's so funny because when you pull it away, it looks like it's micro striping, but like when you get it super close, you can see how speckly and rainbow it is, and I absolutely adore it. And then my Progress Keeper was a gift from Lizzie. And then, and I'm knitting these on US size 2s. I have no idea what millimeter that size is. But these are Chiago needles, and I'm knitting them magic loop style, toe up. Yeah, and I need to finish these today because I just got chosen to do another sock test knit, and I need my needles for that.
For who?
Are
you allowed to say?
Yes, and I just forgot their name. I think it's the Jeweled Knitter.
Cool.
Is doing it for? Yeah, they're super cute cabley socks. I'm really excited. All right, so another project that I am working on is the Magpie Tennessee by Skenanigans. And
I have the yarn wound up for that, and will be one of the things I cast on when I finish some of these other whips.
I am really excited for this because I had some skeins that I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, and I'm not sure that I want socks out of it. So this is perfect for it. The blue and gray yarn that is on the shoulders is trekking yarn. And I'm not sure which trekking yarn it is because it's stash yarn and I can't find the label. But the yellow...
I love the striping effect. I've told you this when you've shown it to me privately. You know what it reminds... This is what it reminds me of. Having that striping on the shoulders, it's kind of... This is not in a bad way. This is a good way. It's like soldiery.
Yeah, kind of.
You know how Michael Jackson would wear those jackets?
Military jackets, yeah.
That's what it reminds me of, in a good way.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm using this color for the sleeves too, and I'm doing the 3/4 sleeve version. So I'm really excited to see how the striping transitions onto the sleeves itself. All right, so the yellow is a merino, superwash merino nylon cashmere mix that I found at Goodwill in a bag of yarn. And it is Vita Lana by Knit Crate, and the colorway is bananas. And every single time I read that, I always think of the Gwen Stefani song, and I'm not going to sing it for you now because my singing skills are terrible.
Now you guys know it. This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Yeah. Every single time I read this, I feel it in my head. Thanks to Gwen Stefani. So, all right. And then I have one more whip right now, and I am crocheting plant hangers. This is a Yarn Inspirations pattern. I think it's called the hanging plant trio. And I'm using, I have the yarn right here.
Hey, people are getting to see your yarn wall for the first time.
Yeah, so this yarn wall was made by my husband because he wanted room in our closet for his clothes instead of it just storing like my yarn. To be fully honest, I still have like 2 huge totes of yarn in our closet, but he has clothes in there now, so win-win situation. The other reason why he put it up on the wall for me too is because thanks to executive dysfunction issues, if it's put away like out of sight, I forget I have it. And so this way, if my yarn's on the wall, I can't really forget I have it because it's there. So, all right. So for the plant hangers, I am using Plymouth Yarns Encore Chunky. It's a bulky yarn. This is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. I got these when I was in Texas visiting my family. And yes. So
what are you going to do with the plant hangers, did you say?
I'm putting plants in them. We went to Lowe's this morning and I bought 3 plants, 3 different succulents. And yeah, they're going to be put in these plant hangers. Like, these are only halfway done. The plant hangers are really cool because you stick 3 of them and then they hang flat on a dowel. And so you can stick them up on the wall. So
that's cool.
I'm going to stick succulents on there. I think probably underneath my sloth in space picture because it gets pretty good light in my living room. So
awesome.
Yeah. I will have to post later so you guys can see the sloth in space photo in my living room because it's giant. It was a Goodwill outlet find, and I stuck it up on the wall while Eric was at work, and he came home to it and was like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's our new artwork."
It's a sloth in space.
And after he got over it freaking him out because it was kind of terrifying in the middle of the night because we could see the space. He's decided that he likes it, so I'm considering it a win. Okay, shall we move into finished objects?
Sure.
Okay. Can I go first? Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So, did I not grab it? All right. So for finished objects this podcast week, last week was Sock Week, hosted by Nitty Natty and Malia Made It. And since I had like almost 3 full days of car driving, or car sitting, because my dad did all the driving. I only drove like 2 hours of the whole entire trip home.
That's awesome.
Amazing, and I'm really thankful. I had lots of car knitting time, so I finished a whole pair of neon vanilla socks. These were done toe up with an afterthought heel, and they fit so well, and they're really, really soft. These were done with the online Super Sock Neon 2, and I think the colorway is 1278 or 1728. I don't remember. It's in last week's show notes. I'll put it in this week's show notes too. But it's like super, super neon. This color is like a highlighter color. And then there's pinks and blues and yellows.
I love it.
I love them.
How high up your ankle do they go? Are they shorties?
They're like not shorties, but I mean, I guess they're technically shorties. They hit my tattoo, so, and the tattoo on my ankle is decently high up there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other pair that I completed during Sock Week were also vanilla toe up, also knit on the US 2s, my Chiaga needles, and these are also with the afterthought heel. And these ones are shorties, super short shorties.
I like the barber shop stripe on that.
Me too. It was a really happy surprise. It makes me wonder, though, like with the way that they striped, if I had used smaller needles, if I would have gotten a different striping pattern. But I would have had to cast on like way more stitches because I'm a tight knitter. So I don't know. But yeah, these were done in Nerd Girl yarns. Bang, bang, bang colorway on her Stomp and Bounce sock base, which is really cool. And these are super soft. And yeah, so those are the socks that I completed during sock week. One of the other finished objects that I have is Protégé Knits. Her new hat pattern is the adventure hat, and I got to test knit it. And yeah, I was online with Farrah the majority of the time when I knit this, and I enjoyed it. It was super simple color work, though. I mean, if you added more colors to the striping, like, you could make it more difficult if you so chose. But yeah, and I love it too because besides the fact that it fits super, super well, it like gives me like early 2000s skater boy vibes, and like, honestly, I'm here for that. Yeah.
I just watched her podcast before we started recording, where she talked about that design and showed it off. Show off the pocket, because that's how it got its name, and I love it. It's like such a genius feature.
Okay, so the pocket's super cool. The pocket is on the inside of the hat, and as you can see, there's a pocket there. And since the opening of the pocket is like down towards where your head goes in, it is not for storing things in. Well, I mean, technically it's for storing things in because it's a pocket, but it's not for like putting like your wallet in. It's for folding the hat itself into, and it folds into this little tiny pocket, and then you can like stick it in your bag or your backpack, and it takes up way less space than like a full hat. And yeah,
it's genius.
It's complete genius.
I'm fairly certain I'm gonna knit that hat.
It's so much fun.
And you know what that would be good for? Was it worsted weight?
Yeah, it's worsted weight.
It would be good for people who lose hats. Because this is why. You could put it in your pocket. You could fold it into its pocket and put it in your pocket.
Yeah. That's true. That'd be a really good thing for that.
Is that all your FOs?
I have one more FO, but it's like on the other side of the living room. Do you want to do your FOs and I can go grab it real quickly?
Sure. Okay, my first FO is, unsurprisingly, a pair of striped socks. And this is the second to last pair of socks for Issa's college box O socks. Issa is my youngest child who is going to college on September 1st. The last sock I have done, and I have like half of it done. It's a hoe. I need to do the other half. But this is the second to last pair. And this is ankle socks. I knit it using Knit Picks Felici sock in the Grape Gatsby colorway. I did an afterthought heel. I used 3 Irish Girls yarns for the toe and heel. Oh, wait. I'll show you on a sock blocker. That's how it's pretty.
Ooh, that's cool.
So I decided to put the heel in between 2 stripes. And I finally figured that out. And I really like it, how it looks. And I'm happy with it. And I have finally figured out their sock formula for how to do their socks. I need to write it down so that I don't forget it. Or put it in my bullet journal, and then I won't forget it too. Okay, then I have 2 spinning FOs because I used all of the fibers. So this was the first yarn that I ever spun. And I don't know what kind it is because I got it from the Sheba guys, whose spinning class I took, called Drop It Like It's Hot, was the name of the drop spindle class they did. And
now that's stuck in my head.
And right. I really like it. I don't know what weight this is. I have to weigh all this one yet, but it's a 2-ply, obviously. I like it. And then I did this one with some yellow yarn, that was yellow roving, that was gifted to me from our friend Sultan, and I plied it with a natural white, and I'm calling this one buttered popcorn because that's what it looks like. And I think it's probably a bulky, maybe worsted. I have to figure this one out too. But I really like it. It's really soft, and I really like it. So I'm excited about that. And I did decide that I'm going to, once I have way more hand spun made up, I'm going to do a night shift shawl with it. Especially since I'm now getting DK weight. Like, I might do something else with the bigger ones, but the DK weights, I'm going to keep spinning up and seeing what I'm getting and doing a night shift shawl.
Sweet.
And that's my FOs.
All right, so my last FO is our friend Sultan, who's spun Nomadity, designed a crochet ice cream pint cozy.
So
and
good.
Like, this thing is a lifesaver for my hands. Like, I can actually sit and eat ice cream without being in large amounts of pain. I'm really temperature sensitive, and cold things like make my body hurt almost instantly. But I love ice cream. So I currently have Talenti Gelato in this, and the cool part about his design is it has a spoon
holder.
Awesome. Like, yeah. And since I'm the type of person that tries to make as few trips back and forth as possible, like, it's great because I can have my ice cream and my spoon in one hand and grab my drink that I'm probably refilling in the kitchen at the same time and, like, actually have enough hands for all of this. So.
Is that the fancy layered Talenti that you told me about?
This is, and, like, I'm, like, halfway done.
Okay, look at this, people. It's amazing. It's a layered gelato.
Yeah, so it's a 5-layered gelato. It's their new line. It's salted caramel truffle. And this one has sea salt caramel gelato, chocolate cookies, dulce de leche, vanilla gelato, and caramel truffles. And it is honestly, like, one of the most delicious things I have ever tasted. So, and the cool part too about Sultan's pattern is, one, it fits the Talenti covers, but it also fits, like, Ben & Jerry's,
yeah.
like the normal ice cream pints. The cool part too is that he's donating $1 from every single pattern to Graces, Texas.
Yeah.
And the pattern's only $2. So, yeah. And I don't know what yarn I used for this. These were just stash pieces that I had.
It's a good stash buster.
It's a really good stash buster because it does not take much yarn.
And that would be good Christmas gift knitting. Since we're coming upon autumn, like, those would make, or crocheting, those would make awesome Christmas gifts.
Yes. And for our knitting friends, he is currently writing out the knitting pattern.
Yes. And I'll be knitting
for
some.
One of these too. So.
And I think if you knit it out of wool,
mm-hmm.
I believe it would help keep it cold too. Because I think wool insulates. Like, whether warm or cold.
It totally would. I think, though, like, since it is an ice cream cozy, you're going to have to accept that at some point ice cream is going to drip on it. And so if you're not using like a superwash or something, then don't gift it to someone who doesn't have the means to
hand wash
it.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, let's talk about the Cal.
Yes.
And the live things.
I love how I said that's it, and I didn't look at my list because it literally is just right there to talk about both of those things. So, yay. Lists, people. Like, lists really work. You want to talk about the Cal?
Sure.
Break. Okay.
We're doing a Cal. We are calling it the Cover Your Ass Knit Along. The pattern, the featured pattern is Elizabeth Zimmerman's Nether Garments, which is in her Knitter's Almanac. It's also in the Opinionated Knitter. And if you go to our Ravelry group, which we have a Ravelry group you can join, which is, the link is in our link tree on Instagram. But if you go to Ravelry, go to Knitting My Shit Together and put an asterisk where the I is in shit. That's what you search for. There is links to where you can get the patterns, because you can get those books for really inexpensive on Amazon, and I have a link to that. And you can also get them on KnitPicks has the books, but you can get them used for really inexpensive on Amazon. And so the idea, we chose that pattern because it's size inclusive. This will be a size inclusive knit along because it's a recipe. So you will be making custom leggings for you in whatever weight yarn you want. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, you can go read all the details on our Ravelry group. But if you want to do another pattern, that's fine. It just has to be something that covers your ass. Somebody asked if they could do something that covers somebody else's ass because they wanted to do diaper covers. And I said, sure, why not? Because they said multiple diaper covers. Because we are going to have like an FO for people who finished prize giveaway, because we have prizes coming for this. But I didn't want it to be like one person's knitting one diaper cover and another person did a whole freaking pair of leggings. So, you know, she was doing multiple. And I don't want it to become like the diaper cover knit along where everybody does that either, because I don't know. I don't feel like we're a very baby-centric podcast.
Well, considering that there's the word shit in our name, I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah. So, yeah. I will say that I'm really excited about it. And if you go to our Ravelry group, you can put in which yarn you're going to use and what you're planning on doing. You can introduce yourself. You can read all the directions. No whips are allowed, but a 6-inch in length at your ankle swatch is allowed. Oh, and I thought of something, Annika. So I was on our Ravelry group today, and you can create events. Cool. What if so it's going to go from October 1st to March 31st, so everybody has tons of time to do it. What if midnight Greenwich Mean Time on the 31st of August, or September, 30th of September, 30 days past September. So September 30th at midnight on Greenwich Mean Time, we'll just pick one time zone, we did an online cast on.
That sounds amazing.
And I could do a private stitch room for it and just be it for group people doing the Cal. And what I'll do is I'm going to put the password for it in the group Ravelry group. So to get the password to do it, you have to go to the Ravelry group to get the password and do it. And I'll see what time midnight Greenwich Mean Time would be for everyone. Maybe I'll do a different time, but look for the details for that in the event on our Ravelry group.
Yes, and also in our Ravelry group, there will be a post sooner rather than later with yarn options for a couple different weights and a couple different price points. So if you're not planning on using stash yarn, then we'll have a bunch of different accessible yarn choices.
Sam from Potager Knits is going to do this, and she was saying she might use upcycled yarn, which is awesome. She's going to go to the thrift store and look for some reclaimed sweaters, or reclaim some sweaters and upcycle them and use the yarn from those. So that's
really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. That's the knit along. Is there anything I missed? If you need yarn or pattern support, please DM me or Annika on Ravelry, and we'll find a way for that.
Yep. Okay, so the other thing is that we are having a new broadcasting schedule. So the format of our podcasts on our Monday uploads is changing a little bit. So instead of having the pattern of the week, we are now doing Instagram Lives every Wednesday, where Farrah and I discuss the top 5 patterns that are hot right now on Ravelry. And we're calling it the Midweek Mini. And then also, instead of having an acquisitions spot on the podcast, on our Monday podcast, every Friday we're having acquisitions. We'll be doing another Instagram Live where we talk about what we acquired during the week. And it's pretty cool. Yeah. Super interactive. Lets us actually
talk to people.
You guys while going through stuff, which is really cool. And being able to interact with you guys is the best part. I'm really excited for that part. And I've really enjoyed everyone that's tuned in and talked to us while we're doing them.
It was really fun. We did so we did that this last week, and if you miss it, if you're not on when we go live, because it varies what time we do, we'll save it to our Knitting My Shit Together Instagram stories feed, so that it'll be on there for 24 hours, so you can jump on for 24 hours to see it. I don't think we can do a highlight of those.
I don't know.
I'll look, and if we can, I will. I talked about potentially recording it. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. I like the Instagram. I like it being low-key and just doing the Instagram thing, and it was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, before we close today, we should see how close we are to 100 subscribers. We were really, really close, people. I'm looking. $97.
Ooh, we're so close.
We're so close. 3 people. Because once we have 100, we have 100. And we get to change our URL up a little bit, and it's just going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yes. So if you haven't yet, subscribe below, please.
Totally subscribe. And
get your friends to subscribe too.
Yes. And so we're going to do a cast-on party now for the Cover Your Ass knit-along.
Yes.
There's another secret thing for that knit-along that I'm working on that I'll announce once I have gotten my shit together and done executive function tasks and figured it out. We'll announce it on a podcast. And, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I think that's it. Okay. So we will see everybody next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye. Or on Wednesday.